Hello everyone, welcome once again. Today we are going to study a new chapter of biology of class 10th, that is how do organisms reproduce. So if we talk about reproduction, it is a very essential process that all the living organism has to carry out to keep their species on the earth. So reproduction is the process by which living organisms produce new individuals similar to themselves. Like human beings produce their babies which are similar to human beings. Cows produce the calf which are similar to them. Lions produce the cubs which are similar to them. So that means reproduction is basically a process through which the living organisms they produce their young ones which are very similar to them, It basically involves the making copies of the blueprint of the body design. The blueprint of the body design is same in case of living organisms. Reproduction ensures continuity of life on earth. It is necessary for the continuity of life on earth. Next is reproduction ensures continuity of life on earth. Chromosomes in the cell contain the information for inheritance of features. The chromosomes, they carry the information for inheritance. Whatever the characters that are there in your parents, they will be transferred to you in some extent. Some of the characters you can get from your mother, some of the characters that you can get from your father. These all are called inherit characters that you get from your parents. The inheritance of features which are passed from generation to generation in the form of DNA. It is passed in the form of DNA through the chromosomes. Next is, so reproduction involves copying of DNA and other cell apparatus. Other cell apparatuses are also copied, like different cell organelles, they are also copied. The copies will be similar to original and not identical. They are similar, they are not exactly copies, they are just similar to the parents. This property is variation which is the basis and necessary for evolution of living beings. Reproduction is necessary for the evolution of living beings. Variation helps the species to withstand drastic environmental changes, thus save the species from becoming extinct and promotes its survival for longer time. So variation also helps us how to deal with the drastic changes that are taking place in our environment, and we can save our species from getting extinct. Now reproduction could be of two modes. There could be two modes of reproduction. One is asexual and another one is sexual. Asexual reproduction is basically carried out in which only single parent is involved, whereas in case of sexual reproduction two parents are involved, male and female. In case of asexual reproductions, gametes are not formed, whereas gametes are formed in sexual reproduction. In asexual reproduction, progeny is identical to parents. In case of sexual reproduction, progeny is only similar to the parent but not identical. That means the progeny or the young ones that are produced from the parents, they will be copy in case of asexual reproduction, but in case of sexual reproduction, they will be just similar. They will get some characteristics from the parents or the grandparents, but they are not exact copies of their parents. Now, asexual reproduction is extremely useful as mean of rapid multiplication. If rapid multiplication is required in some of the non-living organisms and some other organisms, it is extremely useful as a mean of rapid multiplication. It is common in lower plants and animals. It is carried out in case of lower plants and animals and living organisms. Modes of asexual reproduction. First is fission. Fission, as the word indicates, fission means splitting. The organism splits. The parent cell divides or splits into two daughter cells in binary fission. The fission could be binary, bi means two, whereas multiple means many. So it could be binary fission in which two daughter cells will be formed, or it could be multiple fission. Now, how could we differentiate between binary fission and multiple fission? In case of binary fission, the parent divided into only two equal halves, whereas in case of multiple fission, the parent cells divides into many daughter cells simultaneously. Equal halves will be produced in binary fission, as we have said too. Amoeba follows binary fission. Binary fission takes place in amoeba. Leishmania has a whip-like structure at one end. Binary fission occurs in definite orientation. Now, example of Plasmodium, it has multiple fission. Plasmodium carried out in mosquitoes which causes malaria. So, Plasmodium is reproduces through the multiple fission. Amoeba, we can see the picture. Amoeba reproduces through the binary fission. Two daughter cells are reproduced in case of amoeba. The process where nucleus lengthens, where the nucleus separates, is called nucleokinesis, and the process where the cytoplasm lengthens is called cytokinesis. Two processes are carried out in case of cell division. One is nucleokinesis, or we can see it as nucleokinesis. Another one is cytokinesis. Now next is second type of asexual reproduction is budding. A bud develops as an outgrowth. Similarly, this one is a parent cell. A bud develops from it, and due to repeated cell division at a specific site, these buds detach from the parent's body. Once the bud formed in the parent body, after that it will get detached. It will be a new daughter cell. Examples are Hydra and yeast. They carried out reproduction with the help of budding. Now next is spore formation. Spore formation is another type of asexual reproduction. Spores which are present in sporangia are small bulb-like structures which are covered by thick walls. Spores have thick walls on it so that they could just live in the drastic environment. So they could live in unfavorable conditions also. The thick walls that protect them until they come in contact with suitable conditions. Under unfavorable conditions, they germinate and produce. Under the favorable conditions, they germinate and produces. It is the example of spore formation. Here you can see the roots are called rhizoids. This like structure, this is called stolon, and spores are present in sporangium. Spores are present in sporangium, and sporangiophores are the erect hyphae. These are called hyphae or sporangiophores. So these all are the different parts of spores. Next is fragmentation. Fragmentation takes place in multicellular organism with simple body organization. It is the accidental process when the broken pieces of an organism grows into a new complete organism. For example, Spirogyra. Spirogyra produces with the help of fragmentation. It breaks down in two fragments, and these two fragments further will break down in two fragments, and so on the process will be carried out. Next is regeneration. Regeneration is when the simple animal like Hydra, planaria develop into individual from their broken older part. Whenever we cut any planaria in three parts, three new organisms will be produced from the each part. It is carried out in specialized cells which divide and differentiate to form complete individuals. These cells multiply and form mass of cells. Other parts are generated. Regeneration follows an organized sequence referred to as development. It has some organized sequence through which they develop. Examples are planaria and Hydra. Each part of planaria will be form a new planaria. So this is regeneration. So that's all about this chapter. For more details, just connect to me through the channel. Thank you and have a good day to all of you.